Welcome to the Casuals Guide to UFC 296 Edwards vs. Covington, where I show you filthy casuals why this card is going to be a banger. Not only will the fights be great, but the build-up is going to be hilarious. The press conference is going to be one that you do not want to miss. Garry is probably going to be everyone's target with all the things going around with him, and we already got a little taste of it. He got kicked out of Leon's team earlier this year, and him and Leon went back and forth online. Colby already gave some of his input on the drama going on with Ian's wife, and I'm sure he's gotten some lines written up. Even Patty the Baddie chimed in and said Ian got knocked out in sparring. I might actually feel bad for Garry since he's going to be surrounded by some very outspoken characters, and I have no doubt that he will be the common target. At least we know that Wonderboy and maybe Luque will be nice to him. If Garry shows up to the press conference, you can expect a big drama show.
Big drama show.
We are going to end the year with a bang, so let's get right into it. In the main event of UFC 296, Leon Rocky Edwards defends the welterweight title against Colby Chaos Covington. Leon has been on a hell of a run ever since losing to Kamaru Usman back in 2015. He went 9-0 with one no contest with solid wins over Vicente Luque, Brian Barberena, Gunnar Nelson, RDA, and Nate Diaz. He would finally get his shot at the title at UFC 278, where he would challenge Kamaru Usman for the title. After a solid opening round, it would become a nightmare for Leon. In rounds 2 and 4, he would be outclassed on the feet and on the ground. And in the 5th and final round, with 1 minute left in the fight, he would land a head kick heard around the world, and the rest is history. He would solidify his status at the top of welterweight when he would successfully defend the belt against Kamaru, and now he looks to defend once again against a familiar face at welterweight. Colby Covington makes his return to the octagon after a very long layoff. The last time we saw him in the octagon, he faced his ex-best friend Jorge Masvidal in a fight that he would win by unanimous decision. He was unable to capture the title twice under Usman's reign, but now he has a chance to capture gold. This fight is so interesting because both guys have conflicting styles. Colby is a relentless wrestler who uses his grappling to stifle fighters, and Leon is a striker who uses his range to maintain distance and land his shots. Both guys will be motivated to make a statement. Don't miss out. In the co-main event, the cannibal Alejandro Pantoja looks to devour a familiar contender when he defends his flyweight title against Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Pantoja's ascension to champion was a quick one. In 4 fights, he captured the title. His run started with a solid decision win over Manel Kape. This win has aged like fine wine, considering how well Manel has done since then. He would make it 2 in a row when he defeated Brandon Royval by submission via rear naked choke. We will touch on this fight a little more in a bit. He then made a huge statement when he submitted Alex Perez in the first round. He came out the gate guns blazing and locked in a standing rear naked choke that would earn him a title shot. He then would go toe-to-toe with Brandon Moreno, and after 5 close rounds, he would become the new flyweight champion of the world. Now he is set to defend his title for the very first time against a guy he submitted on his way to the top. Brandon Royval is a name that might seem familiar to you casuals. He is the most exciting fighter at flyweight in my opinion. He fights at such a crazy pace. When he is striking, he fights so fast and is one of the most creative strikers. Punches, knees, and elbows are the norm for him. Even when he's on the ground, he is constantly looking for submissions and doing damage. He is on a 3-fight win streak. He won a close split decision win over Rogerio Bontorin. He followed that up with a submission win over Matt Schnell via guillotine choke. Then, in his most recent fight, he would land a perfectly placed knee that would stop Mateus Nicolau. In their first fight, Pantoja just seemed to be a step ahead. Royval was a little too reckless, a little too sloppy, and it cost him the fight. He has cleaned up a bit, so this rematch will be one you do not want to miss. Don't miss out. The Nomad Shavkat Rakhmonov faces off against a veteran welterweight in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You casuals should know both these guys, but for different reasons. Shavkat is a 29-year-old prospect out of Uzbekistan. To the big-brained MMA enjoyers like myself, he was already on my radar when he made his UFC debut against Alex Oliveira, where he would make it look easy with a first-round submission via guillotine choke. He will follow that up with another submission win over Michel Prazeres via rear naked choke. It was frustrating at the time to see him perform so well and get no traction, but he would finally start to get a bit of buzz with his win over Carlston Harris, where he would win by knockout. He landed a spinning hook kick that floored Harris, and he would finish the fight with some brutal ground and pound. He would take a huge leap in competition when he got matched up with welterweight staple Neil Magny. With all eyes on him, he absolutely delivered as he dominated Magny and eventually got the guillotine choke in the second round to end the fight. It was a super impressive win where he got to prove that the hype is indeed real. In his most recent fight, he went toe-to-toe with the heavy-hitting Jeff Neal. They delivered a fight for the ages, but Shavkat came out on top when he would lock in a standing rear naked choke in the third round. He is the real deal. 8 wins by knockout or TKO and 9 by submission. Undefeated at 17-0 with all finishes, but he's going to have to go through one of the best strikers at welterweight in Wonderboy. Thompson has been in the game forever and has been among the top welterweights for a very long time. In his most recent fight, he clocked in a very fun fight when he would have a gentleman's agreement with Kevin Holland to keep the fight standing. We would see the best of him and he would win as Kevin could not start the 5th round. When the fight stays on the feet, he is one of the best in the world. The problem is his great takedown defense has been tested lately and it hasn't passed against some great grapplers. Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad both were able to stifle Thompson's offense by smothering him with their grappling. And unfortunately for him, Shavkat is a great grappler with a great submission game. It's the path of least resistance, but no fight at this level is ever easy. It's going to be a great fight. Don't miss out. El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson looks to bounce back against the brash Englishman, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. You casuals have probably been witness to the heartbreaking spiral that Tony is currently on. His 12-fight win streak has become a 6-fight losing streak. It all started when he would lose via TKO to Justin Gaethje during the pandemic, where he would take a scary amount of damage. Then he would get matched up with a renewed Charles Oliveira and lose by unanimous decision. Next, he faced an upcoming lightweight in Beneil Dariush, where he would lose by decision once again. He would have a great first round against Michael Chandler, but he would get knocked out cold in the second round in brutal fashion. After the fight card would get shuffled at UFC 279, Tony would become Nate Diaz's farewell fight. He would look slow and sluggish and he would get caught with a guillotine in the 4th round. And in his latest fight, he faced off against Bobby Green. He would be too slow and he would surprisingly get submitted in the 3rd round with 10 seconds left into the fight. To say that he is in a rut would be an understatement. But his matchups don't get any easier. He is facing Paddy the Baddy, who has been on the rise as one of the younger lightweights in the game. He made his highly anticipated UFC debut against Luigi Vendramini, where he would deliver with a huge first round knockout. He would follow that up with a submission win over Rodrigo Cazula Vargas via rear naked choke. And he would get matched up with Jordan Levitt, where he would win another submission via rear naked choke and where he would go viral for his Call of Duty-esque teabag. Paddy has always been polarizing among fans, and his most recent fight really soured a lot of people. He would be in a very close fight where he would win a unanimous decision against Jared Gordon. It wasn't his usual exciting fight, but his post-fight attitude where he claimed it was fight of the night and that it was a great performance made him seem a little delusional. But no matter what you feel, he has been on a roll and is looking to continue his rise with the win over a hardened veteran in Tony. Both guys are strikers with super underrated grappling. We are in for a true MMA match and I cannot wait. Don't miss out. The silent assassin, Vicente Luque, looks to stop the surging Irishman, Ian the Future Machado Garry. You casuals have probably been following the stuff going on with Ian Garry, from the drama with Team Renegade and Leon Edwards, to the stuff with his wife. He's going to look to silence all that noise. He is currently on an impressive run. He is 6-0 in the UFC so far. He made his UFC debut against Jordan Williams, where he would win by knockout in the 1st round. Then he would get a decision win over Darian Weeks. Next, he would win another unanimous decision against Gabe Green. He would fight through adversity when he would get dropped early against Song Kanan, but he would find the finish in the 3rd round. And he would follow that up with a 1st round head kick knockout against Daniel Rodriguez. And in his most recent fight, he would fight Neil Magny on short notice, where his great performance was overshadowed by his pre and post fight antics, where he took something Magny said about spanking his kids and tried to paint him as an abuser. But the audio with context kind of makes him look like he was reaching a bit. Fans were already souring on him, and now he might as well just lean in full on and become the villain, especially because he is facing a babyface in Vicente Luque. The silent assassin has quietly rose up in the rankings. He is a heavy-hitting striker with 11 wins by knockout or TKO. He did hit a rough patch in 2022, losing twice. He dropped the decision to Bilal Muhammad, and then he would get knocked out for the very first time in his career when he faced Jeff Neal. This year, he would bounce back with a good decision win over RDA, and he's going to look to continue his momentum by derailing the hype train of Ian Garry. It's going to be a striking battle between two top 10 welterweights. I cannot wait. Don't miss out. Alright guys, that was my rundown of UFC 296 Edwards versus Covington. I hope you casuals learned a thing or two. We are ending the year with a banger of a card. It's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in, and I'll see you guys next year. But until then, as always, protect your neck and take care.
They talking crazy about you. They said
brother,
they
brother,
smash
who
you.
cares? Who cares, brother? Who cares, brother? Who cares? Today, smash.